Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. You just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
This pigskin pecking order. Where do the Vikings rank? Episode of Purple Daily that the sports dad's about to guide us through.
That's right.
Football, yeah.
Football.
That's right.
Is presented by Padres. Padres Brewing. Great place.
Absolutely is. It's the official beer of Sports Dad. In fact, enjoyed quite a few last weekend, including the brown ale that they have now. It's outstanding. As you can see right there, it is located in the old Land O'Nod factory at the corner of Broadway and Central Avenues Northeast, where they brew the beer. And the great thing about Padres is, you know what? They do one thing, and that's beer. They don't do a bunch of other stuff. They're not trying to run a bunch of plays. They're running one play, and that is brewing delicious beer. Here's the great thing, too. A new agreement with a distributor means that Padres is going to be available in more and more liquor stores and bars. So if you go into your liquor store and they say, we're sorry, we don't carry Padres, guess what? Tell them, please, to get it, because they certainly can now. Padres, the red, I've been talking about it forever. Absolutely outstanding. So as you're consuming this, the rankings that I work so hard on each week, I want you to make sure that you're consuming a Padres as well and tell me how great that beer is.
Yeah. Judd hasn't slept since the games ended on Sunday. He stayed up, watched the Monday night game.
This is tough.
Last night. I don't know if maybe the Monday game had an impact. I don't know.
It did not. It did not.
I feel like it should come close. The Broncos are much more formidable than people think.
They are. They
keep sneaking up on teams. They're 8-5 now. But Judd's going to rank the 10 best teams in the NFL, the pigskin pecking order, and tell us where the Vikings fall here.
All right. Let's start off with, and we did have a lot of movement, not new teams in, but movement 6 through 10, and then just a little bit 1 through 5. But let's start off with who's out. Who is out? So playoff teams that I left out. There's 4, as there always are, okay? The first team out, of course, is the team that is, because of tiebreakers, they're still in first place in the NFC South. They're going to be here at US Bank Stadium on Sunday. The Atlanta Falcons, 6-6, a minus 34-point differential. They've lost 3 consecutive games. The Tampa Bay Bucks, who lost twice to the Falcons, are tied record-wise, would have a better chance to be in the top 10, but they're not either. So Falcons, get out of here. Second team out, the Washington Commanders. Yes, you drilled the Titans 42-19. Yes, you're a plus 80-point differential. But your strength of victory is 284. Excuse me while I hold my nose. PU, 284.
Maybe play a real football team, Washington. Huh? Play all these college teams.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Third team out, Phil just brought them up, the aforementioned Denver Broncos, a wild card team in the AFC, 8-5. They are knocking at the door, but they're not in yet. And then the final team out, and this was the toughest one, and I think this is debatable on Sports Dad's part, so bring it on. The Houston Texans, okay, they're out right now. They beat the Jaguars. They are in first place. They're 8-5, first place in the AFC South, plus 20 in point differential. They did end a skid there with the win against the Jaguars on Sunday. Strength of victory, 384. Strength of schedule, 465. Good case to be made, and I debated this, putting them at the bottom of the top 10, but I did not. So here's who I got. Are we ready?
Love this. You put the
Are we ready?
in there.
This is some drama. This is befitting of the NCAA football rankings, how much work I put in here. Number 10, dropping one spot, the Seattle Seahawks. They beat the Jets. They're in first place, obviously, right now in the NFC West, 7-5. Point differential is only plus 7. They've won 3 consecutive games. Strength of schedule, 476. Strength of victory, 412. So the Texans, I debated that one there. Like the Texans, I left the Seahawks in because they won, and I didn't think it'd be fair to drop them out, but I did debate that. Okay. Number 9.
Quick on the Seahawks.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They're so nondescript.
I know this.
I see why you put them here, but I don't even know if they are I don't even think they're one of the two best teams in their division. Like I know their record is better, but
Yeah.
I think I like the Rams and the Cardinals better than the Seahawks. But they're 7-5. They just find ways to be competitive almost every week.
Yeah, and the main two things that kept them in and the Texans out were one, the fact that the Seahawks have won 3 consecutive games, and 2, strength of victory for the Seahawks, again, 412. Strength of victory for the Texans, 384. So, but that's very close. Number 9 going up 1 spot, coming off a win against the Falcons, the Chargers, 8-4, point differential plus 72. Strength of schedule, 458. Strength of victory is what sort of hurts them, in my opinion, 337. So, like, they've beaten teams. It's not super impressive, but they've won 8 games. So the Chargers and Seahawks were the 2 teams that I debated, when I left the Texans out, but I actually moved the Chargers up after the win against the Falcons 1 spot to number 9.
Who's got it better than us? The Chargers are going to wind up with they're going to wind up with double-digit wins, immediate turnaround. Defense is top 5 in the league scoring. Jim Harbaugh, man, also has the best career winning percentage of any active coach in the NFL. Not the sample size with only 5 years, but
professional fixer.
Yeah.
He's a professional fixer. He goes in and he fixes it, cleans things up instantly.
Yeah.
Number 8, dropping 2 spots, coming off a loss to the Eagles, the Baltimore Ravens. 8-5, point differential, plus 65. Strength of schedule, 558. Strength of victory, 536. Really impressive. Some tough decisions made here by Sports Dad. I dropped Baltimore 2 spots, but they were the first team that was in no jeopardy. So, and they're sort of a weird team at times, but that strength of victory really stops me. I mean, 536. So Baltimore, number 8.
They've played a gauntlet schedule.
Yeah.
They just find weird ways to short circuit sometimes. Mm-hmm. So you don't fully know what to do with them. It does feel to me like they can win the Super Bowl.
Correct.
But they also, man, if it wasn't for like some of these teams stumbling all over each other, like the Dolphins and the Bengals,
right?
In other years, they'd be more at risk with that schedule to miss the playoffs. Like they've been kind of playing with their food in some ways in some of these games. But they're still, I think, like 2 games up on the 8th seed outside looking in.
Yep. So the Ravens are number 8. Number 7, moving up 2 spots. Just drive down Highway 29 and you'll find the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the Dolphins on Thursday. They are now 9-3. Point differential plus 78. They've won 3 consecutive games. Their strength of schedule, 521. Their strength of victory, 409. The Green Bay Packers, though, I mean, this division is a gauntlet. Speaking of gauntlet schedules, let's talk about gauntlet divisions. The Green Bay Packers are number 7.
Green Bay's upcoming schedule. So this is a great Thursday night game. Packers at Lions on Thursday night.
Al Michaels is so excited. I heard he's like really jacked up for it.
I think he actually might be for this one.
All right.
He should be. And then at Seattle, Sunday Night Football the following week. Not an easy place to play or win.
Yep.
New Orleans, that's a Monday night game as scheduled now, week 16. But then they play at the Vikings in week 17 before Bears. So they've got their 3 road games at Detroit, at Seattle, at Minnesota, all against playoff teams. Tough sled for the Pack.
Absolutely. So
but
the
with
Packers,
with you guys and your faith in Jordan Love from our previous episode, then they should be just fine.
Hey, you know what? Shout out Matt LaFleur. That dude can flat out coach.
He's a good coach. Yeah.
Sort of petulant at times, I feel like, but he can coach. Number 6, up 1 spot, coming off a crazy win against the Bengals. Just a shootout against Cincinnati, and that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they've been as high as 4. They've been as low as 7, but they are number 6, 9-3, point differential plus 72. Strength of schedule, 425. Strength of victory, 436. Pittsburgh's another team that feels like they could win the Super Bowl. So They are very firmly in that middle section, but they do win, or they do lose some weird games at times. But that game against the Bengals, absolute haymakers back and forth, lands the Steelers at number 6.
They have an awesome defense. They gave up a bunch of points. I guess one of them was a pick 6, so the points were inflated against the Bengals.
Yeah,
but there is a cough button, by the way. On that
Judd, there's. I know it's been a while since you've been in
there.
Oh
no, you know what? I tried to hit that. Hey, here's what's weird. So I'm not joking. The lights on this entire thing are out.
They don't work. Yeah.
So I can't tell. I thought I hit off entirely.
Yeah. You also cracked a Diet Coke, which I thought was a beer during the scoop session, and I was like, oh, okay. We're just
I wish it had been a beer
in there.
It would clearly be a Padres.
Yeah, I thought it was a Padres.
It'd be a Padres red. Yeah. There's no question about it. Thank you very much, Dex.
The Steelers, though, defense, Russell Wilson rejuvenated, and they completed like 10 passes of 20 yards or more. Not all of them deep shots. Some of them were like screen passes, but they can chunk their way on offense for the first time in a long time. So Steelers are dangerous for sure.
Seahawks. What'd you do?
Well, we can't hear you. Your mic was off. But you can't see it because the lights don't work.
Stupid thing. No, I hit the on. I hit the stupid on button.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to turn you off manually. I'm going to see if that. Okay, now hit the button. Oh, that button doesn't work anymore. The button doesn't work anymore.
Oh, that's why.
God.
Wait. Oh, I'm going to hit the cough button and cough.
Okay.
Tell me if that works.
Okay. Nope.
Nope.
None of the buttons. None of the buttons in the studio work.
No.
Oh my God! I've been thinking.
Put a phone call in. The old AM 1500
doesn't matter.
Radio studios.
Doesn't matter.
Just running power runs up the middle for 30 years.
This is unbelievable. So I'm not at fault though. So Sports Dad, cut him some slack.
How about some outside zone? How about some creativity here?
Unbelievable. The buttons don't work. All right, number 5. This is incredible. Number 5, your Minnesota Vikings stand pat. Obviously, they beat the Cardinals on Sunday, 10-2, point differential plus 78, 5 consecutive wins. So they lose to the Lions in a really tough loss. The Rams on Thursday night, how are they going to rebound? Even with their quarterback not necessarily playing well, at least at the start of the stretch, they win 5 consecutive games. Strength of schedule, 445. Strength of victory, 393. So it's not that great. It's dragged down, and now this is not an excuse, but just to be clear, it's dragged down by the fact that early season gauntlet is now not turning out to be as big a gauntlet in retrospect with how teams are playing now. Now, I still give them full credit, but what I'm saying is, like, the Niners being just decimated now is dragging down their strength of victory. So I'm leaving the Vikings at 5.
That's
I still think it was
deceiving.
Hard. Yeah.
Because they absolutely boat raced the Niners, for most of the game, and the Texans. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the only injured key player for San Francisco in that game was Christian McCaffrey, and their backup running backs are also awesome. Trent Williams played, and I think Debo played. That was before the Ayuk injury, I'm pretty sure.
Diggs played for the Texans.
But
they're being dragged down because of the fact that those teams now have had some repercussions from guys being hurt. So I am not going to punish the Vikings for that.
Amen.
All right, number 4, I'm dropping them a spot because it's just weird. The Kansas City Chiefs are 4.
Oh, wow, we're putting it down here. Okay.
So they barely get by the Raiders, but they're 11-1. Their point differential for the Chiefs is not great. It's plus 54. They've now won 2 consecutive games since they lost against Buffalo. Strength of schedule, 448. Strength of victory, 414. They're 11-1, and I was going to leave them at 3. But I don't know, because at 3, still going up, Philadelphia. They beat the Ravens, as I talked about before, so they go from 4 to 3. They're 10-2. Their point differential, they're one of 3 teams in the entire league with a point differential over 100, plus 102. They've won 8 consecutive games. Strength of schedule, 434. Strength of victory, 421. So I have jumped the Chiefs for now, just because of the fact that the Chiefs, the whole thing just feels weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles feel like right now harder to play against, just because you've got this Saquon Barkley is on pace to break the single season rushing record. Of course, there's an extra game compared to when some of the other guys did. But with him in the backfield, with Jalen Hurts dual threat, and then the other weapons they have, plus that's one of the most ferocious offensive lines and defensive lines in the league. Like, the roster's been there the whole time, but you've always kind of wondered about their psychopathic head coach who's just a petulant child. And he's kind of reined it in. I don't know, like, if people had conversations with him or just said, dude, take a deep breath, breathe into a brown paper bag. You don't have to be fighting with fans every game in the stands.
Yep.
But it just they haven't lost a game in like 2 months.
Yep.
So that is a really hard place to potentially play in January or early February for a playoff game.
Number 2, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. They beat San Francisco very convincingly. Snowstorm.
Yeah.
I have some issues with the scoring on the Josh Allen pass lateral back to him.
Boy.
Getting credit for both a reception or a throw touchdown and a reception. That's not a reception. You need to fix that rule. But they're 10-2. Their point differential is now plus 131. They've won 7 consecutive games. Their strength of schedule is 469. Their strength of victory is 438. The Buffalo Bills, and actually with all of the injuries on the Lions, who obviously are still 1, Buffalo Bills are sniffing around the top spot. The Lions, 11-1. Point differential remains outstanding, plus 180. They've won 10 consecutive games, 493 strength of schedule, 493 strength of victory. So the Detroit Lions, the Bills, the Eagles, the Chiefs, and Vikings are my top 5. The Steelers, Packers, Ravens, Chargers, and Seahawks are my 6 through 10.
Lions defense is something to keep an eye on with all those injuries. I know that, like, in terms of scoring defense, they're among the best in the NFL, but part of that is game flow too. Their offense is so great at just punching teams early, and all of a sudden now it's like you're playing from behind. Yep. And I just wonder if they get into a situation where somebody else jumps out 10-0 or 14-3 or something, and their defense is now not playing from a 2-score lead, and they know the other team is passing. Their defense is something to keep an eye on. On the Bills scoring thing, shouldn't it be? So it's a pass and it's a completion to Amari Cooper, and then lateral. Shouldn't it then be a rushing? He should get 2 touchdowns on the like a passing. Well, no, shouldn't it just be a rushing touchdown?
That's what I would have it be.
One rushing.
It should not be a
right?
reception. It's not a reception.
Nor is it a passing touchdown.
Right.
To me, once like if you throw a pass and somebody catches it, and then gives up the ball, no longer is it a pass. Like the pass happened.
Correct.
The reception happened, and now it's something else. It's like a run.
Lateral. It should be a lateral and a rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Brad Johnson had a ball tipped against the Panthers. He caught it, and he scored. That is a pass to yourself.
Yeah.
Because the ball was never...
It never was possessed by anyone else.
Yeah.
Correct. The possession to me ends the pass.
Well, I hope they don't change it. I won a fantasy game because of that specific play and having Josh Allen. So I really just kind of leave it.
Well, I'm just saying it's a incorrect scoring play that the league doesn't know how to adjust to. Much like the fact, here's a quick statistical one too. Last night, Jameis Winston broke QBR. He broke. Look at what a guy who threw 4 picks was.
I took him.
Look at what his QBR, it broke the system because he also had a good game touchdown-wise. It's way too high.
Let me find the box score.
He had 3 picks. He had a 76.4 QBR.
That's a broken system.
That's
first time.
I mean, but he was awesome for major chunks of that game.
And he didn't.
I think
he didn't.
Part of it is saying too that like maybe I don't know.
It's broken.
It's interesting.
Jameis Winston broke it. That system is supposed to give us an accurate reflection of your overall performance. And unfortunately, he did so well at times, it overrode the things he did wrong, which were huge.
See that?
But wouldn't it be like, all right, so he threw for 497. The game was close. He threw 4 touchdowns. They almost averaged 9 yards an attempt.
Yep.
But what if like Kirk has the garbage time game where all the stats are good and the QBR is good? You'd still say it's a broken system?
Phil, I think you told me that QBR factors in garbage time.
This is where I side with
Judd. It dragged him down.
QBR factors in the leverage of the moment. So if it's a blowout game, my thought was, did he throw a couple picks? Did he throw a couple picks in a blowout? But the game was close the entire time. And his last pick six, they were driving to take the lead.
Yep.
And so they had probably like a 50-50 win. I'd have to go look at. Yeah, they had literally had a 50% chance to win that game when he threw his last pick six. And then it went to Denver 99. Yeah, Browns had 53% chance. He throws that pick six, and then they had it flipped to 99.6 Broncos.
Yep.
So you would think that would shipwreck him, but
I'm not saying it should be a 20. I'm just saying that is to me an inordinately high QBR.
Let's investigate.
For the amount of
Let's investigate QBR. Let's investigate a bunch of things here.
Good thing I took him this week for Cesspool Challenge.
Yeah, my guy Brock Purdy came through in a big way.
So those are the top 10 teams according to Judd. Number 1, Lions. Number 2, Bills. Number 3, Eagles. Number 4, Chiefs. Number 5, your Vikings. Number 6, Steelers. Number 7, Packers. 8, Ravens. 9, Chargers. The Chargers. And number 10, the Seahawks, with the Falcons, Commanders, Broncos, and Texans on the outside looking in. Before we get to football, if the playoffs started today, let's talk about stoked. What are you stoked about these holiday weeks, Judd?
One thing, and that is Stoked Barbecue Pellets, a company based right here in our great state. Stoked is the premium pellet, folks, that cooks anything you throw on the grill or smoker to delicious perfection. You can find Stoked at all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores. Perfect for pellet grills and smokers. And guess what? Just about any grill. It is fantastic. Find Stoked Barbecue Pellets, 50-count fire starter buckets, 4-count fire starter bags, and barbecue caddies, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a grill master in your life, great holiday gift. The barbecue caddy makes your life as simple as possible. It's great. Again, available at all 22 Fratelloni's hardware and garden stores. Don't go with the big guys. Go with Stoked. Find them online at stokedbbq.com. That's stokedbbq.com, because as Declan can tell you, grilling season knows no end. Exactly right.
Get out there. Get out there when it's cold. KS Drywall also providing great help to our listeners and viewers here on Purple Daily. Full drywall, plaster repair, interior painting services, popcorn ceiling texture removal. KS Drywall, which services the greater Twin Cities metro and western Wisconsin, is all about quality craftsmanship, quality communication. They are here to help handle anything from a new construction to a small emergency repair. Just hit them up, ksdrywall.com. No job is too big or too small. ksdrywall.com for painting, drywall, plaster, and popcorn ceiling texture removal. ksdrywall.com. So, football. If the playoffs started today, the Minnesota Vikings, now this could change because they play each other this weekend, but the Vikings would travel to Atlanta, Georgia to play the 4-seed 6-6 Atlanta Falcons. The Vikings are 4 games up on the Falcons in the league standings, but because the Falcons are winning a weak and crowded NFC South, and the Vikings are not winning a really competitive NFC North, the Vikings are the 5 seed and the Falcons are the 4. So you'd have Lions with a bye, Eagles the 2 seed hosting the 7 seed Commanders, 3 seed Seahawks hosting 6 seed Packers, and then 4 seed Falcons hosting 5 seed Vikings.
There is a world in about a month or so where we're talking about Philadelphia 1 seed, Vikings NFC North champions, Detroit wild card.
Wow.
Detroit, I'm telling you, Phil, you talked about this, and I brought this up yesterday. The Lions, if they have an injury or two on offense, this is a game of attrition, man.
Well, the Lions also, the schedule game here, right? You know, they've boat raced pretty much everyone, regardless of who their opponent is, except for the Vikings. But they play Green Bay this Thursday. Thursday games are weird. Green Bay's really good.
Yep.
Things can happen. Now, that's back-to-back Thursday games for both those teams, which is interesting.
That's on purpose.
So a bit less weird. And then you have Lions, Buffalo Bills the following week. So this is like a gauntlet for the Lions. And then they play at Chicago, where things get weird.
Yep.
At San Francisco, which a month ago looked like a really hard game. We'll see what happens. And then home against the Vikings. So the Vikings they're really 2 games behind the Lions, because right now the Lions own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Vikings. But there's some spots here for the Lions to trip up. There's
absolutely.
some spots.
Absolutely.
Also, if the Vikings do beat the Falcons this weekend at home, and let's say the Lions win, or even if they don't, like, they've got the tiebreaker. So let's say the Vikings dispose of the Falcons, and the Buccaneers hold serve at home against a 2-win Raiders team. I think those are likely scenarios. Then it would flip, and the Vikings would be temporarily traveling to Tampa to face Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, the 4 seed.
That scares me way more.
Yeah, and they won a playoff game. Hell, last year they beat the Eagles, right?
So, I mean, give me the Falcons. First of all, because that's such a crappy sports town, the amount of a Vikings playoff game in Atlanta will sound like a Vikings home game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
to... And I'm not saying that they don't go to Tampa Bay, too, but I mean, Tampa Bay scares me a lot more.
You also, even though the Lions are playing the Bills here in a couple weeks, they have the Lions have a 7-1 conference record. So if there's a slip up, you actually want maybe to slip up against an NFC team, because the Vikings are a game back of the Lions in the conference record. So like this is going to get some crazy tiebreaker situations.
So it would go head to head, then division record, and then conference.
Right?
Then conference. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh God.
Unless it's a 3-way tie of sorts. But if it's a 3-way tie, then head to head gets thrown out.
Yeah, then they go.
It gets super in depth, Dex.
Yeah, there's like wins against record against common opponents in there.
Yep.
I say we put Declan in charge of all tiebreaker situations. Phil,
you get the tiebreaker. Why? Because I decided so. That guy.
The Vikings are going to the Super Bowl.
Damn it.
I love it. Amazing. So, all right, there's your pigskin pecking order, where the Vikings rank, and if the playoffs start today here. Tomorrow, it's a Write That Down Wednesday, where we will also go through and celebrate and make fun of each other for where we were right and wrong. And Thursday, it's Kirk Cousins week here. It's the clash of one of the richest football players in NFL history and his former team at US Bank Stadium this weekend. Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.